Mom guilt is one of those pervasive but sneaky things that steal our joy in motherhood. Several years ago, when my kids were still elementary school aged, I was overwhelmed with guilt. I was consumed with it, and it absolutely wreaked havoc in my heart. It dominated my thoughts, and it interfered with my ability to be a present and happy mom. Until I discovered 4 things that helped me break up with mom guilt. I'm Marisa from Call to Mothering, and I encourage and equip moms who are raising toddlers to teens. Today, I want to help you ditch the mom guilt. But before we get into that, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel and ring that notifications bell so you know anytime I upload a new video. Now, number 1 is I stopped comparing myself to others. So much of the guilt we feel as moms is because we are looking around at what all the other moms are doing, and we are piling those expectations on ourselves. We think that we have to make healthy meals from scratch. We have to perfectly discipline our kids. We can never raise our voices. We must always know exactly what to say, have the right words at the right time, and never get frustrated or flustered with our kids' behaviors. We also think that we need to always be ready with structured activities for our kids if they're bouncing off the walls, and always engage them in some kind of helpful or structured activity instead of putting on a movie or letting them play video games. And so we have all of these expectations on ourselves, but a lot of what we believe all the other moms are doing is because it comes from what we've imagined in our own heads or what we've seen carefully curated on social media. That's one of the problems with living so much of our lives these days online. We see picture perfect, happy endings, and we don't see the messy middle. We don't see, all the steps, all the mess that it took to get to the final product or the ending. So focus what's on front of you instead of looking around at all the other families. It's good to learn from other moms, but don't feel like you have to be just like them. And focus on your family, your unique kids, your unique home, and this unique season that you're in. Number 2 is I accepted my personal limitations. Contrary to popular belief, supermom is not a thing. She doesn't exist. We are all limited. We all have limits on our time and our patience, our energy, and our resources because, we're human. My worst days were when I tried to hide my limitations and I pushed through and I just slaved away, trying to do all the things, even when I needed a break, despite my bad attitude, my exhaustion, or the fact that I needed help. And when I ignored my human limits, I crashed. And inevitably, I tore down my family as well. It was not helpful for my kids. It was not helpful for me. And so we all suffered as a result. Number 3 is I recognize my responsibility. So often we forget that we are parenting for the long haul, that young kids don't instantly become mature, respectful, responsible adults that are self-sufficient. During the time that they are small is the training ground for where you consistently provide training, correction, and guidance. While they're growing, children exhibit all kinds of behaviors that need to be corrected, that are somewhat troublesome or problematic. They don't have the tools yet to be self-controlled, or sometimes they lack the ability to identify their own emotions. So they're going to have moments when they struggle, and they're going to have moments when they fight against you, when they act out towards you, and sometimes say mean things. But these shouldn't define your worth as a mother. I used to think that my kids were just an extension of myself. Anytime that they did something great, that they accomplished something wonderful, I saw that as one of my accomplishments. And if they failed, I believe that it had to do with me, that it must have been because I failed in some way. There are many things within our control, but there are also many things outside of our power, and we need to recognize that. Our responsibility as parents is to discipline, to teach, to help our kids with their emotions, to teach them our values, teach them about life, and provide an environment that fosters love and respect and an understanding of right and wrong. But we can't do the hard work of changing our children's hearts and character. And that's something that they have to do. It's something that comes from the inside, and they have to be internally motivated to do it. The main takeaway here is that your child's identity is not wrapped up in yours. If our kids end up serving on the mission field and they happen to stumble upon the cure for cancer while leading an entire village to Christ, we cannot take credit for that. Likewise, if they end up failing catastrophically, that will not be our doing either. Number 4 is, I gave my burdens to God. When we carry around guilt, we need a place to lay down our burdens. Too often, I gained my satisfaction in the cleanliness of my home and the obedience of my kids. When Psalm 62:1 says that my soul should find rest in God alone. Keeping to-do lists and correcting our children's behavior are good and necessary things, but if we are relying on them to control everything, control the outcome of our children's lives, or control how we see ourselves, then they have become idols. Jesus says, "My burden is easy and my yoke is light." He is not waiting to shame you for the parenting mistakes that you make. God cares deeply about moms who want to be Christ-like in the daily grind. And when we pray about our burdens, He will surprise us with strength and endurance, not shame and condemnation. So instead of me taking on the heavy load of being the supplier for my kids, all I need to do is receive from the Lord what He has, and be a broken vessel that pours out. My children are just on the receiving end of that. Really, God is the supplier, and we are the vessels of that supply. Understanding this makes all the difference. When I understand this, I am strengthened to be pleasant toward my children and also present with them. I am not buried under guilt. I don't have this weight on my shoulders, and I'm truly free to be joyful, to be present with them. And the fruits of peace, joy, patience, gentleness in my house starts to become evident. And I stop my efforts to try to be in control of the outcomes of my children's lives. And I trust and just rest in God's sovereignty for all of those things. So thanks so much for watching. I hope that you were encouraged. And remember, you are not just a mom.